Genesis chapter 37. Jacob settled in the land where his father had sojourned, the land of Canaan. This is the story of the family of Jacob. When Jacob was 17 years old, he was tending the flocks with his brothers. He was as assisted to the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah, and Joseph brought their father bad news about them. Israel loved Joseph, but of all his sons, for he was the child of his old age, and he had made him a long ornamental tunic. When his brothers saw that their father loved him best of all his brothers, they hated him so much that they could not say a kind word to him. Once Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. There we were, binding sheaves in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose to an upright position, and your sheaves formed a ring around my sheaves and bowed down to it." His brothers said to him, "Are you really going to make yourself king over us? Will you rule over us?" So they hated him all the more because of his dreams and his reports. Then he had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look, I had another dream," he said. "This time, the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." When he told it to his father and his brothers, his father reproved him and asked, "What is the meaning of this dream of yours? Can it be that I and your mother and your brothers are to come and bow to the ground before you?" So his brothers were furious at him, but his father kept the matter in mind. One day, when his brothers had gone to pasture their father's flock at Shechem, Israel said to Joseph, "Are your brothers not tending our flocks at Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them." "I am ready," Joseph answered. "Go then," he replied. "See if all is well with your brothers and the flocks, and bring back wood." So he set him off from the valley of Hebron. When Joseph reached Shechem, a man came upon him as he was wandering about in the fields. "What are you looking for?" the man asked him. "I am looking for my brothers," he answered. "Please tell me where they are tending the flocks." The man told him, "They have moved on from here. In fact, I saw them say, 'Let us go on to Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. They saw him from a distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, "Here comes the dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the cisterns here. We could say that a wild beast devoured him. We will see them We will see then what comes of his dreams. But when Reuben heard this, he tried to save him from their hands, saying, "We must not take his life." Then Reuben said, "Do not shed blood. Throw him into the cisterns in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him." His purpose was to save him from their hand and restore him to his father. So when Joseph came up to his brothers, they stripped him of his tunic, the long ornamental tunic he had on. Then they took him and threw him into the centrance. The centrance was empty. There was no water in it. Then they sat down to eat. Looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels laden with gum, blem, and resin to be taken down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What is to be gained by killing our brother and consuming his blood? Come, let us sell him to these Israelites, instead of doing away with him ourselves. After all, he is our brother and our flesh." His brothers agreed. My Midianite traders passed by, and they pulled Joseph up out of the centurion. They sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver to the Israelites, who took him to Egypt. When Reuben went back to the centurion and saw that Joseph was not in it, he tore his garments, and returning to his brothers, he exclaimed, "The boy is gone, and where can I turn?" They took Joseph's tunic, and after slinging a goat, dipped the tunic in its blood. Then they sent someone to bring the long ornate tunic to their father, with the message, "We found this. See whether it is your son's tunic or not." He recognized it and exclaimed, "My son's tunic! A wild beast has devoured him. Joseph has been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his garments, put sackcloth on his loins, and mourned his son many days. Though his sons and daughters tried to console him, he refused all consoling, saying, "No, I will go down mourning to my son in Saul." This did his father weep for him. The Midianites, meanwhile, sold Joseph to Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh, and his chief steward. End of 37.